place.
Yeah.
Right, we're live.
Hello, everyone. We're
Hello.
just saying that on Nick's, because you're on my laptop now, because the camera's gone a bit weird on yours. But when we look directly forwards, it looks like we're looking over there.
A little
So
bit.
we don't look like we're looking at you, if that makes sense.
It doesn't. It's
But
not.
it used to.
It's not as bad
on
now.
Nick's, it looks like we're looking at you. We are looking at you, but it doesn't look like it. That makes sense.
Should we start again? Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the chat. Yeah, we've had more bad news. It's been one of those years, and I know we've covered this sort of stuff recently, but this is life, right? All we can do is share our current situation and how we feel and how life is affecting us, and it's been a rough one. We had another funeral.
It's not. Somebody's asked if it's Jeff. It's not Jeff.
No,
Jeff's
no.
absolutely fine.
No. Sadly, we've been away for a few days, which is why my daily content disappeared. We went away. Sadly, my younger cousin Rachel had a sudden heart attack, and we were at her funeral. And I was, for the second time this year, helping to carry a family member's coffin. This one in particular, though, has really, I don't know why, but it more than Auntie Sylve, which was Rachel's mother, more than her, Rachel, I think because she's nearly 10 years younger than us, or was. It's hit home. It's hit home how fragile all of this is for me. It's like hit a big reset button in my head. I feel different about everything. So that's where I'm at, and that's what we're going to talk about. So yeah, it's not going to be a big uplifting one, but there will be some positives in here, I'm sure. I'd love for you to share your experiences again if you want to, but we want to start on a positive, don't we?
In some ways, some of what I think you want to touch on is positive, because it's about realizing that time is short, and we have to be able to remind ourselves to live life every day and to make the most of every day that we have. And if we've got things that we want to do them, because you just don't know how much time you've got. Rachel's partner was talking about the plans that they had, in once their kids had left school, and he was talking about the fact that they had like a 10-year plan, and you think that you take it for granted. And
yeah, of course we all felt this when our mutual friend Stephen passed away earlier this year. We felt that because he was in the middle of carrying out his plans. But somehow this has hit me harder, I suppose, because it's family, it's that little bit closer. And yeah, I was looking for a picture I have of me as a 9-10-year-old with Rachel as a baby sat on my knee in a guest house just down the road here. We used to holiday here together.
It's part of the reason why we live here now. All those happy memories we've had with your family, extended family, and holidaying as kids.
Well, we took a load of pictures to show. Rachel leaves behind a brother and a sister who were obviously there, and I took a load of pictures of us all together as kids to share.
Are they did you find them? Are
no.
they in your jacket pocket? Shall I have a look?
They might be. I'm going to say some hellos. Okay. That's up in the bedroom. The jacket. Anyway, I'll say a few hellos. First in was Ian. Hello. It must be Sunday evening again. I love the live streams. Good. Thank you for that. And as I said, I don't want to bring anyone down at all, but all we can do is share where we're at, how we're feeling, right? And that's what this is. Just raw and honest. Hello, Joe. Good to see you. Evening all, back after the kettle boils. Good. Hope you're back. No, nothing to do with Jeff. Jeff is fine. Jeff got to spend a couple of days at my mum and dad's. So he was quite happy. He got a mini holiday out of it. Sharon, yeah, we've spoken to you, so you already knew what was going on. Yeah. Hi, Pete. Right, let's move down. Evening, all managed to catch another live. Good to see you. Evening. Hello, Mark and Paul. Welcome, everybody. Hello, Anne. Welcome. Ross. Sorry to hear, sounds like something bad's happened. All my best to you both. Know the feeling. Up in Scotland, went past my uncle's flat. Someone new was in there. Found it comforting. Right. I find it strange. We've been back to Hitchin a number of times since we moved. We've now moved twice since then. It's very odd seeing someone else living in that house. We were in that house for 16 years, I think. And yeah, I find that very strange to think of someone living in there. It's hard, but life does go on. It does. Absolutely. And I find that so comforting at times like these. Lots of people would have been born today. Well, yes, the circle of life carries on. Right, we found some pictures. I can show you. That's the one. This is the one that I find particularly poignant. That's Rachel as I'm guessing about a 1-year-old. And that is in the guest house we used to all stay in as a family in the late 70s and through the 80s. So Rachel was, I'm guessing 1 there. There's no date on this one. And I'm about 9, perhaps 8 or 9.
Grumpy Old Reseller says, life is very cruel. I lost both of my parents this year. Hard to come to terms with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is.
That's awful. I'm really sorry that you've lost your parents. That's so hard. It
brings that side of it home. Obviously, we had some long conversations with my parents about all of this. And, you know, for my mum and dad to lose somebody even younger than all of their kids.
Yeah.
No, apart from Katie, who's younger. Yeah, that brings it home. How old they're suddenly feeling as well.
We watched a Grumpy Old Reseller video recently, didn't we?
Which one was that?
Talking about YouTubers, and we got a mention.
Oh, we did. We did. That was really entertaining. I really enjoyed. I think I subbed while I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that video. That was interesting. And thanks for the mention. What was I saying? Yeah. It was a really tough one. Yeah, I took these pictures along so I could share those memories with Rachel's sister, Shelley. She had an older sister, older by a couple of years. I'll show you some pictures of her in a sec. And Calvin, Rachel and Shelley's brother, who was younger. And, you know, he was chatting to my mum and he was just saying, it's so unfair. They lost their mum earlier this year. Way too early. She was in her early 60s.
Yeah, she's 69, I believe.
Oh, late 60s.
Yeah.
Sorry. And then just getting over that, they just managed to sort out the estate. The house was on the market, their family home that Sylv was in before she passed away.
Rachel was doing a lot of.
Yeah.
With the sort of paperwork and organisation and stuff.
So they just kind of managed to come to terms with that. And then Rachel, out of the blue, completely out of the blue, she wasn't ill. Nothing was expected. So Calvin struggled expectedly. Oh, here's a cute one. This is my sister Alison in the same guest house, and that's Rachel. Possibly the same year as that other picture. Oh no, Rachel's a bit older
there. Bab says, what a shame. I'm so sorry, but I only know too well how quickly you could go, having had 2 clots this year. I may not have been here. Yes, enjoy it as much as you can.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad you're still here, Babs, and you've got through that. And yeah,
it's just moments like this, so that give you that jolt that I'm really feeling so intensely at the moment, you know, if you've got plans, put them in motion now, because, you know, next year's not a given. And I know that sounds very morbid, but it's not. It's a powerful thought, and it's hard to keep that thought and keep the motivation and energy going, because life gets in the way, and, you know, we all get in cycles. But, you know, I've created my own Groundhog Day down here. I was talking to somebody earlier, and I said, I'm very aware of that at the moment. You know, it's not that I don't love what I do, and this isn't all going to end next week. Nothing drastic's going to happen suddenly, but I feel very focused on the fact that, I need to give myself more time for things I want to do.
Yeah.
Put it that
like
way.
For instance, you talk about all of the, you know, different ideas of like other YouTube channels you want to do, or things that you want to create,
hobbies,
and then you say, when am I going to get time to do that? Well, you've got to carve out that time, otherwise you will get to a point where you're like, I wish I'd done that, and you never did.
Thoughts like that. I've struggled to sleep a little bit with this all going round and round inside my head, just trying to work out what it is, what are the lessons we're learning here. Right.
I think the thing that it really hit me hard at the funeral, and it was the aspect of Rachel being a mum and her kids being there, and that hit me so hard. Like, I was sobbing because just thinking about that, it's just
I barely spoke.
How do they cope without her, you know?
I don't know if you had a chance to speak to Ryan and Chloe. I barely said any more than hello, because I didn't know what to. Selfishly, I didn't know how to be. I didn't know what to say. I knew it would set me off, so I didn't really spend any time with them.
And they're amazing, you know. Like, you know, Rachel's partner was talking about how proud he was of them, and how well they've coped with everything, but just, you know,
it's going to have a huge impact.
Let's go. Yorkshire Reseller said, I lost my wife just over a year ago now, at the age of 42.
Oh my
which
goodness.
Is why I've not been around for a while. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
That's just so young. That's, what was Rachel, 43?
43.
Yeah, Rachel was only 43. So as you would have experienced, the shock value of somebody going that unexpectedly.
Yeah. And Sharon as well lost her brother-in-law at 44. Oh, gosh.
Sharon, now we brought down, we wanted to start on a positive and we forgot. We received a surprise gift, and Sharon, you are ridiculously way too kind to us. Do you want to share yours first?
Yeah. She did give me a heads up this was coming.
Right.
But I have a Yogi Tea advent calendar, and she put, have a cup of tea on me right up until Christmas. And I love Yogi Tea. Sharon has sent me some Yogi Tea before, and I've actually currently got a Yogi Tea on the go. Not from that yet, because haven't opened it.
So do you get a tea bag in every day? Is that how that works?
Yeah, I think so.
How many flavors of tea are there?
It's all on. Well, Yogi Tea's got so many. But yeah, it's all on the back there, telling you what there is. And some I've tried, some I haven't. So I'm going to very much look forward to that.
Now, Sharon knows us quite well. So you've got tea bags.
Yeah.
I've got Depeche Mode merch. I have opened mine. I know you said maybe save it for my birthday, but I can't do that. I haven't had a DM calendar for many years, but this will go perfectly down here on the wall next to my whiteboard. So thank you so much for that. Cheers, Sharon. It is very much appreciated.
I've just highlighted this because I think this is lovely. Carol says, be thankful for wrinkles. We all moan about work and we wish the day was over, but you should never wish your life away. Exactly. And
yep.
It, you know, that's a big part of the reason why we work for ourselves so that we're not wishing our days away. We're doing something that we love, and we're doing something for ourselves. But at the same time, it can still, like you just said, you create your own Groundhog Day because you're doing the same thing day in, day out.
I can get so head down and committed to this, which is a positive in its way. But I don't have to be. We've got ourselves in a position where we have the freedom. We're not financially free. We have to still earn money, but I could focus on other things a lot more.
Yeah,
it's a kind of almost a trap that I love what I do, because I bury my head in it and I enjoy it. But I do, the weeks fly by, and I have other plans and I have other things I want to achieve. And all this has done, Steve, and then Rachel even more so, has shocked me into, holy pants, Nick, you're 50 odd, not getting any younger. And yeah, you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Let me reminisce a bit more. This is the beach just down the road. Sharon, if you're still with us, behind here is where that big development was, where we sat and had a few drinks. Is where the old fun fair was, and there was a great big arcade building here. All of that's gone, so that's where we sat, about there. And there's us as kids. I don't know where I am. I'm probably in the sea at this point. And Rachel is in the red at the back. There's my sister Jo, Calvin and Shelley. And I was a little bit older than this lot.
Uncle Steve in the background reading the paper.
Uncle Steve would have been reading about sport in the paper. Sadly, we lost Steve, what's that, 10 years ago now?
I don't know. Is it?
I think so.
Seems like yesterday.
There's a good one of Rachel there.
Ellie says, so sorry for your loss. I was given 24 hours to live a couple of years ago, and it changed your perspective on life. Take each day as a blessing, nothing for granted, and live for the moment.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's hard to maintain that, but that's how I feel more than I did.
Well, I certainly felt, I had my heart surgery back in 2007, and I definitely had that kind of aha moment that I wanted to live the most, make the most of life and not take it for granted. But you do get into ruts sometimes, and you do get into habits. And our daughter is traveling a lot at the moment, and she's doing things that she really loves, and she's really living her life, and she's traveled way more than I've ever traveled in my lifetime. And I look at that and I think, gosh, perhaps I should be starting to think about doing more traveling, exploring more, getting out there. And
we had very definite plans when we moved this time. We were either going to spend all of our money on a much bigger house and have part of it to let out. We didn't go that route in the end. We were planning to go the route of buying a second property. We got to the point where we had an offer accepted, and then we backed out of that a while ago, before Rachel passed away. But I feel now that this might really, alter our direction. And I feel like we may not invest that money. We may use that money to carve out more freedom and do other things, and just have that.
Yeah. Because it's sensible to plan for the future, but at the same time, might not be the future.
It was going to be our nest egg rental or Airbnb property, or Ellen was going to live in it for a while and rent it off us, or whatever. It was kind of the sensible plan, the long-term plan. But I feel at the moment like I couldn't give a damn about the long-term plan. That's how I feel. I know it's a knee-jerk reaction, so I'm not going to do anything rash, but that's the crux of how I feel. It's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Who cares about buying a second property now? I couldn't give monkeys right now.
I know.
I might change my mind in a week, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We shall see. Let's see if there's any more cool one. Here's a very cool picture. I love this picture, and the tones of this are so 70s. So there's a family picture from the 70s where you've only got me in the little orange hat and Alison. That's my older sister. Alison is about 18 months older than me. So no other kids. I've got 2 other sisters. They weren't around. None of the cousins. So that was it. There's my mum and dad, nana and granddad, and aunt and uncle on the same beach, just down the road. And if you want to really understand our family connection to this place, hold on a minute.
Can I just read out Yorkshire Reseller's comment? Said, it does make you realise that nothing's worth putting off anymore. Life's for living. Fill it full of memories and don't put off anything. Just do plan that holiday, book that trip. We only get one shot at this.
That sums it up better than I'm able to. Exactly that. We've already been talking about going away in January. We will announce the meetup date soon. We just need to decide which weekend it's going to be. It's going to be either the end of January or early February, we're thinking, right? But we need to just work out a few things and pick a weekend. As soon as we can, we'll let everybody know through the channel. And if you want to come down, talking about living and doing things, come and meet up. Come and say hello. It will be late January or early Feb. But so these pictures are in the Dad's, these are probably 50s, early 60s, probably 50s. That's on the promenade, just down by the beach I just showed you. That's my granddad and my nana. That's my dad there. And Auntie Sylve, who sadly passed away earlier this year, in the pram. And my Uncle Steve, who we caught up with at the funeral, still with us. So my family has been holidaying here for about 60 odd years.
Yeah, and Fluffy Muffin says aging is a privilege. It definitely is. Yes. Yeah, there's so many lovely comments and I can't read out all of them, but thank you everyone for your lovely comments. Would be here all night, I think, if I read out everybody's.
Oh, Tara's in. Yeah, Tara, the place we sat and had that meal and caught up, that's the same beach. Well, I've just shown you those pictures. We sat in there with, we sat in there with Sharon as well.
Yeah. Harridge Life Through the Lens. Hello, Jill and Tony. Said, sorry for your news. Bit late, just caught up the chat. Keep strong. Hugs.
Thank you so much, Tony. Tony, hope you're well. And Jill. Now, they were in the process of trying to sell up, weren't they? I think. We'll have to catch up. Send me a message. We'll have a chat. Could you scroll back just a couple of messages? You were rocking the bucket hat. Was I wearing a bucket hat? Let me get that picture.
Probably.
I think I am, aren't I? Oh, I was trendy before. I'm always trendy before it's trendy. So it works with me.
Yeah, Lillian said, my grandfather used to say, when you're born, you have a date on your back and you can't do anything about it. And it's very true, but we just don't know when it is.
Yeah. Yeah. My mum's got one as well.
Yeah.
We were so trendy.
Your mum looks so much like Katie in that picture.
My mother looks like my youngest sister. Sometimes it's uncanny.
Yeah.
It's really mad. They've got the same cheeky little grin. Right?
Vintage Postcard says, I've just had my hip replaced and having eBay, etc. has kept me going. It's taken my mind off the pain and the time it has taken to recover. So that's such a positive thing about what we do for a living, isn't it?
Yes. I think also this isn't going to, like I said, next week I'm not going to suddenly say, I'm not doing eBay, I'm going to travel the world or something. This will carry on, but it's actually sharpened my focus to get this more efficient. Going back to when Simon came down here and he was saying, if you did get some better processes in and do certain things, you could get your work done in a couple of days a week or certain hours in the day and then have X time to do the other things. But because I'm very scatterbrained, kind of just my days just evaporate in front of me. Whereas with all these other projects I want to try and hobbies I want to start, and yeah, I need to be organized with my time, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and refining what I do, even though I rebel against all of that most of the time because I'm such an old hippie, really, right? I need to. I really do. And I want to create more space down here as well.
Yeah. Flippin' Maggie says, I've always wanted to have a birthday in the warm as a December baby, and it has taken me 70 years. Hang on, 70 years to get to do it. Make those dreams come true.
Holidaying for that would be bizarre. I've never thought about holidaying in December. We have thoughts of going away, just the two of us, somewhere warm in January.
Yeah.
Because we don't enjoy winter particularly anyway. And we've got the freedom to do it. We've got the money to do it. We need to just do it. Yeah. Oh, is that? Should we get onto this again? Last week, if you were here, we were trying to make the fireworks go off. Wow.
I think it's meant to be 2 thumbs, isn't it?
Wow. And do you have to say wow?
Something like that? I don't know.
We don't know.
Don't know. It just happens, and then we just don't know how it happens. Ross says, that's good during the meetup. I should be good for the meetup end of January. Has got Gran Canaria mid-January and a real January mental health boost and enjoying life.
Right.
Yeah, which is what we've just been saying.
Okay.
Which is what we're thinking of doing as well.
Well, we would love you to be down.
However,
Ross.
we don't have a passport yet, so we need to get onto that.
Honestly, yes. The job for next week is send off our passport forms.
Yes.
Ours are both out of date.
Yeah. Sharon asks, what's on your bucket list?
I don't really have one. Certainly not a physical list I've written down. I suppose most of my bucket list things are travel related. I didn't even do that. Yeah, places. I think places and experiences is the stuff. Yeah. What?
It must be your hand.
I've got to put my hands away. Yeah, I guess.
It's funny because we don't
list?
get this on your laptop. I did an update on mine, so now we get these silly things.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really tend to update changes things. I don't like change.
Well, I was just sitting here while you were talking, thinking, I don't have a bucket list that I've written down, so I don't know.
Maybe we'll have to sit down and think of some things.
Yeah.
Sharon says, having suffered from cancer and being told I had a 30% chance of still being here in 5 years, I've managed 4 now. I try to travel and enjoy life whilst also planning for the future. Again, we often get back to the whole balance thing. Yeah. And life is a balance. If you don't plan for the future and put things in place and think about your finances and stuff, you pay for that. But if you spend all your life doing that, you're not really living a life. So there's a balance in there. There's a work-life balance. There's all of these different balances. And maybe I'm just not very balanced. But I think throughout life, you have moments where you reassess things. And I'm 100%. This year is a big shake-up. I mean, not only moving house again, but losing people that, were close to us and stuff has just highlighted so much. Yeah, what's important, I suppose.
Yeah.
And maybe thinking about that balance. And
well, I know that what's important to me is spending as much time with you and Ellen, and yeah, just that's the most important thing to me is the time that we have together.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, Porky's in. Did you read that one before?
No, not yet.
Why does that not move? There we go. Hi, Porky. I always tell people when we are born, we have a number on our heads, and there is a big lottery machine running all day, every day.
You got your thumb up.
Oh, a big lottery machine running. Right. So when your number's up, exactly.
Yep.
The reality is we really don't know. And that's a scary thought to carry with you all the time.
Exactly. We don't know.
But it's a truth, I'm afraid.
I think there is a decided date, but I don't think that we're not supposed to know when it is. There's Lainey. Hello, Lainey.
Lainey. Yeah, Lainey knows all about your life being interrupted by these unexpected deaths.
Yes, indeed.
Lainey went through it a few years ago with her parents. So, yeah.
Julie says, good evening. Sorry about your loss. In my job, I met an older gentleman and he said, it's not the money, it's the time. Exactly. You can't take the money with you. And, you know, you're not going to get to the end of your life and say, oh, I really wish that I had purchased this flat that I can sit in with and have no money because I've spent all my money on the flat and I just sit there and don't ever go anywhere or do anything. Or I spent the money on doing things and having experiences and spending time with people. And
we live in a culture where you work until you're now 65 and then retire.
Yeah,
and that's the culture.
Be that way though, because
we kind of feed into that a bit. And the reality is we could be using more of the freedom we've created for ourselves.
My granddad planned a plan for his retirement. He wanted to get a dog. They moved, they downsized, they had plans to do things, and then shortly after he retired, he got Alzheimer's. I mean, you know, talking about how life can suck sometimes, and they just didn't get to do all those things that they wanted to do in their retirement. So, you know,
it's a common story that people get to retirement age and then pass away. And so they've, you know, had all these plans and then got to retirement. Oh, yeah, and that's it. Game over.
No, we've got to live our lives now. Not plan. Yeah. Not plan for the weekend. Not plan for our retirement. Live now.
So how that changes what we do or what 2026 is like, who knows? But these are all the questions we're grappling with at the moment.
Jessica says, have you ever thought about buying a caravan or a beach hut? In the past, we talked about getting we did have
we had a camper van
for a while.
The camper van didn't
hiring one and traveling around.
Yeah, we did a tour of the UK, around the UK, in the camper van, but for whatever reason, that didn't work out for us. We prefer camping. We do not a lot, but we go camping with the extended family at least once a year. Not thought about a caravan.
No, we haven't. Lainey said that 2020 had the hardest and strangest few months for me, losing my mum and dad 5 weeks apart, plus my auntie 7 weeks before, and my friend from school 3 months later, on top of other family members in hospital.
Yeah, it was relentless for a while with you. I mean, we'd known Lainey personally for many years, so we were friends kind of through that. And yeah, watching you go through that and trying to come to terms with it. Yeah, it was just one thing after the other. Life does that though. This year for us has been one thing after another. You can go 4 or 5 years without anyone significant in your life passing, and then you get a year like this for us. Yeah. And it brings it all home.
Yeah, see, Blaney said my dad was on his way to visit me and poof, gone. Yeah.
Yep. Crazy.
Your granddad went quickly like that, didn't he, as well?
My granddad Hills, who I was super close to, he felt a bit ill. And so the doctor came around, and Auntie Sylve, who we lost this year, came around to be with him when the doctor got there. And the doctor, I think, was using the stethoscope thing just to check his pulse and breathing. And he was doing that, and then he fell off the sofa and was gone. That was it. And he wasn't ill. Not many years before that, he was still cycling to come to visit family. He would cycle from Luton to Datchworth, which isn't an easy ride, in his 70s. if not early 80s. No, probably just in the 70s, thinking about it. Yeah, Grandad Hills went in a flash. That was the hardest thing I've ever dealt with on a personal level.
Yeah.
I can divide my life between before Grandad dying and after. Two totally different things to me. So, you have pivotal moments in your life. That was the big one for me.
Yeah. Alice Droneflying said, an 80-year-old lady said to me once, when you get to my age, you lose more friends than you made.
Than you make.
Oh, sorry, that looks like made from here. Yeah, my nan got to a point where she said, I'm not going to any more funerals. I just can't do it. Yeah. Tara said, it's our 20th wedding anniversary this Christmas Eve. Oh, lovely. And Ian has booked just us 3 days away in a cottage on Dungeness, my favourite place in the UK, the only desert in the British Isles. I can't wait. That sounds lovely.
We've not visited there before.
No.
I think we chatted about it, didn't we, when we were together? Yeah.
Free money and possessions. You can't take it with you. Exactly.
Yeah. And it's not like we all don't know this, but it takes sometimes a life event like this for you to be reminded of these facts.
Yeah. You can always make more money, but you can never get time back.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Makes you think about these blooming billionaires
Ugh.
hoarding all of this cash and not doing anything positive with it. Just boils my blood.
Yeah, and then
don't get me on politics. We're talking about other stuff tonight.
And then Lainey said, and then Lainey herself had 2 brushes with death, once in 2017 and then again in 2023. The first time made me improve life instantly, though it took years. The second time took me a while to fight the fear of it. Yeah.
Fear is something that holds us all back, whether we know it or not. When you break it down, most of the things that are stopping us doing stuff is fear in one form or another. I know I struggle with it.
Sharon says, maybe give yourselves 4 to 6 weeks holiday a year, as if you were in a job. A holiday, as holiday days are meant to be a break from work and a chance to recharge your batteries.
See, that is, it sounds so simple, but you're right. We take a fair bit of time out of work, but it's not structured. And I think if you're not calling something a holiday, you very easily just slip back into, I'll go and do a bit of work, or, making time for yourself and actually calling it a holiday, time out, and purposefully doing things for yourself. It's a very different mindset. It is for me anyway. It's a tricky one. And the thing is, I've always been a worker. I'm a hard worker. I'm a grafter, and it's what I naturally do. So not being in a 9 to 5 where you're given X amount of holiday, therefore you take it, I don't take enough. And going back to what I said earlier, we've earned a certain amount of freedom, and we don't really take advantage of it as much as we could do.
No.
But like I said, I'm a worker, I'm a grafter, and it is still my passion. So I do it regardless, right? Anyway, it's something. It's going back to the balance thing. What is it, Darren? Darren, my sister Joe's husband, has a picture on his wall from a wedding we were at. It might have been his own wedding or ours.
No, it was our wedding.
Yeah, ours was quite a boozy wedding. He has a pint in each hand, and he's there like that.
It's a quote from Billy Connolly. A balanced person has a drink in each hand.
A balanced person has a drink in both hands. It's just a great picture. Anyway, how did I get into that?
Lainey says, you have to keep fighting forward and focusing on the positives, on the things that you can do. Life is horrendous at times, but there is also so many beautiful things in this world. Very well said.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, and it's just shaking yourself up and thinking deeply about this stuff once in a while is a positive. It's not a this whole thing we're chatting about tonight. It's not a negative. This is a positive thing, right?
Yeah.
Actually addressing the big questions and looking at your own life and assessing, what am I doing? Do I really want to be doing it like this?
Yeah.
Ask yourself the questions, particularly in our situation where we have choices.
Yeah, I think we impose rules on ourselves and we don't allow ourselves enough time to do more fun things.
Well, going back to the holiday thing, when you're in a job, they say, Nick, take your holiday you're owed, right? Being self-employed, you're running on your own treadmill, and it's not easy and it can be relentless, but also you get into lots of habits and you get into, I don't know, you just keep running, don't you? Just keep going with it.
You do.
And we taught ourselves that through the early days of our business. When we went onto the high street, we were running so fast for so long, we kind of conditioned ourselves to do that regardless, right? So taking holidays, taking time out became an afterthought. And I guess it's still habits, going back to when we were in retail and we were of that age and we had ambitions financially and things we wanted to achieve. So we worked ourselves into the ground. Now we don't have to. I'm still in all of those habits.
We've conditioned ourselves.
Yeah, we're conditioned. That's the word I was looking for.
Ross says life is too short to do something you really don't want to do anymore.
Yeah. And that's, again, that's not where I'm at with this. I'm just assessing how I look at time and what my priorities are. That's all.
Yeah. No, I think we love reselling. We keep going back to it. So yeah. Yes, that's something that I always remember, try and keep in mind as well. You come into the world with nothing and you leave with nothing. Exactly. There's a really good artist called Plum, spelt as if, plumbing, like with a B
on the
end. She's one of my favorite artists, and one of her songs is I Have Nothing, and it's literally about that. It's like, I came here with nothing, I leave with nothing, nothing belongs to me.
It's an interesting one, because also I have always seen one of my main focuses of making sure we're okay financially, roof above our heads and all of that. I've been so driven to make all of those things work for the last 25 years that relaxing on all of that is not an easy thing. I'm very conditioned to be focused on the finances and make sure everything's in place, and to accept that we're in a place where, oh, screw it, we'll take a month off and go traveling or something. That feels like a leap. It shouldn't, because we've earned it, kind of, right?
The one thing I absolutely want to do next year is go to the Netherlands to visit my friend who I haven't seen for a decade or more. And we've talked about wanting to go to the Netherlands, especially Amsterdam. And that's something I keep putting off as well. I've put that off for years. I keep saying it and then I put it off. Another thing we must do is go to Leeds.
Oh yeah. We have my niece Becky, who used to work in our business when we had the high street shop. Best employee I ever had. We ever had. She's an amazing woman. She now has her own family. She went to uni in Leeds and stayed there. Met a chap called Carl, who is part of the family now. And we've never been to Leeds to visit. We're always planning it. We're always planning it.
Now our nephew lives there as well with his family, and they've just had another baby, and we absolutely have to go and just spend at least a weekend, elongated weekend perhaps, and go and visit everybody.
I wanted to highlight what Pete said. Sorry, I'll go back to it.
Okay.
This is the problem with self-employment. You don't work, you don't get paid. Exactly. And you get into a mentality of, I can't take time off because I won't be earning. But it's like, well, of course you can. As long as you've got things in place and you're getting, your bills are covered, obviously. And we don't take advantage of that enough.
So C. Blaney says it was one of our Words of wisdom from last week. What life is this if full of care? There is no time to stand and stare.
Yeah. Did I mention Rachel passing last week then? I don't know if I did.
I don't know. Yeah. And Ali says maybe a camping weekend in the nicer weather. Well, that is actually something that we do, as your family have done since Ellen was born. We go family camping in May every single year. It's slightly different now because obviously your mum and dad are not wanting to actually camp with us anymore, so we tend to stay a bit nearer to home, and then they come to visit, so they spend the days with us but don't sleep.
Well, it was funny. I don't know if this is how it's going to be in the coming years. Words, Nick. Mum and Dad turned up, set up their trailer tent, and then went home. So we slept in it. Yeah, I didn't even have to put a tent up.
And I'd forgotten that because your mum said, "You slept in my trailer tent, didn't you?" I was like,
We did.
I don't think I did. Oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's a family tradition. And we get the extended family there, as many as can make it. And we were talking to, at the funeral, we were talking to Dan about, well, we certainly spoke to Mum about inviting Dan because he's never been part of it. And now Rachel's gone. I think that might be really nice.
Yeah.
Give him an outlet to come and join our little family thing.
Yeah.
If he wants to.
Tara says, we promised each other we would make more time for each other as husband and wife after Ian's heart attack during COVID, but also time with the kids doing interesting things.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's committing to doing those things, isn't it? Because we're all so busy, particularly self-employed people. I don't know any people that are more busier than self-employed people. There's always something you can be doing.
Oh, see, Blaney says maybe you should do, was it Route 66 that you said you wanted to do before? Maybe do it, maybe did it after you got married. No, before we did that actually, but
it was the year before we had Ellen. We drove across the whole of America and we did the west side of the Route 66. We have talked about going back to America. We've talked about going to New York because you've not been.
No, we won't do it yet. We'll wait until things have improved.
We would not step foot in a country that has Trump in power, and with what they're allowing to go on.
Let's not get into that in case there's people that.
So there'll be a slight delay until we consider going there.
That's how we feel personally. We won't get into it. That's how we feel personally.
You're welcome to other opinions.
See what you buy says best thing to do is book lots of things up like concerts, theatre shows, holidays, so there is always something to look forward to and you are pulled away from work. That's true. Well, we've booked one concert in for next year. We're going to see Human League.
When is that?
Is in June, I think.
Oh, right.
Bought tickets for Rewind again. Turns out to be our holiday most of the time. And yeah. And I love going to seeing shows with Ellen. That's something that I really enjoy.
Let me go back to this one quickly. 99% of the time, the fear of the thing, whatever it is so much worse than actually doing it. Once you do, you realise it was never as bad as you thought. Do it, it's worth it. Yeah, I try and carry little quotes like that in my head because I do talk myself out of a lot of things. Even silly things like video ideas, you know. I nearly didn't make the one about eBay that has really done well for the channel before we went away, because I don't like to moan about stuff, but I feel very strongly, if you've seen that video, you'll know how wrong eBay's current policies are. But I nearly didn't make that video and I'm glad I did, but I could have so easily taught myself out of that. I don't want to go on and whinge about something. I'll leave that to all the other people. And funny enough, John, what's his name? John, the one who moans about a lot. What's his name?
John Shepherd.
John Shepherd.
He's in the chat.
John, you said, I think you commented, hang on, this is you're becoming more like me or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot John Shepherd's name for a moment then. My brain is a bit full.
Senior moment.
Forgive me, John.
Okay, so Sharon has kicked us off with words of wisdom. So get your words of wisdom in now. Then have a think about what you want to pop in.
Yes,
and we'll start to read them out.
If you are new here, I know we have a lot of new subscribers recently, so welcome if you're new to this. We do this every Sunday, and we end on wows. As you can see, as Sharon's put there, words of wisdom. We hand over the last few minutes of the show to you to share with us something that means something.
I just read it and I was like, oh, yeah.
Share something that means something to you that maybe you want to share with others. It can relate to what we've talked about, as I'm sure many of these today will. And we will pick one. It's my turn, I think, to pick one to end on.
Well, Sharon says, the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a good one.
That's a very good one.
We started strong.
Yeah.
You have 51 other weeks to earn enough to cover that 1 week off. That's the beauty of reselling. Yeah, I know. And we are aware, but it's keeping that focus, isn't it? And not getting bogged down in the day to day and letting the weeks trip past. Look, it thinks I'm doing it again. Interestingly, had a few questions about the app privately recently. We've been in the doldrums with that for a while for various reasons. Had a meeting earlier, online meeting, and we now have we've taken the Android version off Google Play Store. There isn't a version currently available. We have now written a new Android version, and we have an Apple version complete. So we're now just going through the motions with Apple to get that side of it, and then we're going to make both public at some point in the near future. We're going to have a lot of testing to do before most of you will be able to get to grips with it, but that is happening finally with both versions. We had the Android version out, and many people used it. Many still do if they managed to get a version before we took it down. Yeah, had an interesting meeting earlier. There's a few niggly problems, as there always is, but we're close.
Words of wisdom. If you keep rolling the dice, you'll eventually get a 6.
Nice.
Oh, Sharon says, we're a long time dead.
Yeah. Well, isn't that a Bon Jovi thing? No, that's sleep when you're dead.
Sleep when you're dead. Yeah.
I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Market Man Mike says, it's important to poke your head up every once in a while and take a look around. See what's going on. It's life. You can't miss it if you don't open your eyes.
You can miss it.
Oh, sorry.
If
I'm not reading very well.
You can miss it if you don't. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stick your head up and have a look around. That's what these last few months have done for me somehow. You know, when you feel a bit of a switch go off. Yeah.
See, Blaney, write your wow down when you think of it, because you'll have forgotten it
by 10 to 9. Yes. Yeah. Write it down during the week when you have a wow thought.
Sunflower Vintage Recycles, that's a good name. Life is ours to be spent, not to be saved. I like that.
We've got a contender. I've never heard that.
No, D.H. Lawrence. Ian says, no one is actually dead until the ripples they cause in the world die away.
Ooh,
that's a Terry Pratchett. That's nice.
That's a contender as well.
Ali says, the struggle you are in today is developing the strength you need for tomorrow. Very true.
Oh,
true. Yeah.
Crumbs.
So Rita says, if you can be anything, be kind. No one really knows what anyone is going through. 100%. Yeah.
I'm making you bigger so Andrea can read.
I've even got my glasses on, but they're reading glasses, and if I'm just slightly too far away, it's blurred. But it's blurred if I take them off. So that's lose.
That's really powerful.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's this?
Oh yeah, Phil's not in. Phil gave us about 10 last week.
So Ross says, don't think of it as dying, just think of it as leaving early to avoid the rush. Death in the Discworld books.
Is that Pratchett again?
I feel like that's happening at the moment. It seems like there's like a lot.
Yeah. What do they know? Where's everyone rushing off to? Yeah.
Maggie says, make plans to spend more time with those you love. for enjoying happy days while you are fit and healthy. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying earlier. That's the most important thing to me, is make, spending that time with you and Ellen.
Yeah. When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Oh man. I hope when I pass away, people have a good old laugh and remember the funny times. I would hate for anybody to be sad or upset. Have a drink, have a laugh, and get on with it. I get that.
Yes, yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
But if people miss you, they will be sad you're gone. And then that's a good thing, because it meant you were loved.
It's difficult because Shelley and Calvin said when I chatted to them that they wanted us to get together and celebrate Rachel's life, but it was overwhelmingly sad, the whole thing. And again, it was a celebration, and the celebrant did a long speech about her life and stuff, and that was great. But it was just, I struggled with it. It was,
Porky says, time is free, but it's priceless. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can't keep it, but you can spend it. Once you've lost it, you can never get it back.
Sums it up.
Is that like one of those
on the back of a toilet door?
Yeah, but it's like one of those, what is this? You can't own it, but you can
it's a riddle.
Use it. Like, you
could use that as a riddle.
Yeah.
Yes to this. All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them.
Yes.
Yeah. And that comes back to the fear thing again. Fear is what's holding us back in pursuing whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's fear of failure. It's fear of judgment. It's fear of not paying the bills. It's fear of something. Yeah. There's so many good ones. I mean, how do I pick
one here?
Go
on. Death. He points out that people aren't afraid of death. They're afraid of what they didn't do while they were alive.
Yeah. Nobody, I heard a quote, I don't know where it's from. Nobody lies on their deathbed thinking, I wish I'd worked a bit more.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
And that's what we're getting at here.
Yeah.
And as much as we might love what we do, we're not going to be on our deathbed going, oh, do you remember those happy days in the tap cave?
No, actually,
cleaning VCR players.
But actually, no, some of those times are very contented and very happy.
Yeah, but I doubt I'll be thinking about it on the deathbed.
Peter Ray says, never put off till tomorrow what you can do today.
Sums it up. That's a good one, Pete. Yeah. Right, let's whiz through these last few. I've got to try and pick one.
Pronto Tech says, journey starts with the first step. Your life isn't set in stone. You can be a new person every day.
Whoa, that's like a whole load of wows in one.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Oh, Ross is in again, making up for Phil, you see.
He is, yeah.
That's mortals for you. They've only got a few years in this world and they spend them all in making things complicated for themselves.
Don't we just?
It's true though, isn't it? And we worry about all this stuff which, when you boil it down, isn't that important.
Lainey says, death leaves a heartache no one can heal. Love leaves a memory no one can steal.
These are too good. You're making me pick one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
work to live, don't live to work.
Yeah.
Yes.
That sums up what we're trying to say, I think.
What's this one? We're all going to die someday, so let's get drunk. Yeah.
Oh, I missed it. Sorry. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Can't argue with it. I prefer the term inappropriately alive. Death, Discworld again. There are so many good ones. Right.
Yeah. Okay, right. We shall love you and leave you, because I'm sure some of you, want to go and watch I'm a Celebrity.
Oh, goodness me. I'm a Celebrity. There we go. I'm going to leave on this one because I think that's so succinct and I'd never heard that before.
Yeah.
So thank you, Sunflower Vintage Recycles. Life is ours to be spent, not to be saved.
Yeah.
And that's a D.H. Lawrence. Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for your words of wisdom. They were so good. I don't know how I was supposed to pick one out of those, to be honest. And thank you for spending the time. I know it was a bit of a dark subject, but I don't think it is. I think it's a conversation you should have. Have it with your family. Talk about the big questions and what are we all doing with our lives? Do we want to change things up? I'll see you for some content next week. I don't know.
Here's another positive thing. We bit the bullet and we moved here, and it's the best thing that we've done. We love it.
Yeah, that was a tough decision to make, and it was the right decision to make. There was a certain amount of fear in doing that, fear of how much it was costing us, fear of, are we doing the right thing, fear of, surely we should stay here and make it work. Grab life by the short and curlies, people. Thank you so much. We've still got 233 people in.
Wow.
Please give it a thumbs up if you got something out of this. We are back next week with a guest. Yes
we are. Yes. Shall I tell you who?
Sure.
Now she's just changed her YouTube name, but on Instagram she's True North Vintage. It's Jill. A lot of people will know Jill, but also Mark. And I think they've changed their YouTube name to now Jill and Mark, the retirement resellers, or something like that. So they're coming on next week.
Are both coming on?
Yes. To talk about working together and
well, talking some of the topics tonight about doing what you love, changing your life up. They've done that with bells on, so it should be an interesting chat. I don't really follow them online, so it'll all be new for me, so I'm looking forward to getting to know them. So we'll see you next week at 8 p.m. Thank you for still being here at the end. Please hit the like button on the way out, and take care. Oh, here we go. We never got a
no, we didn't.
Oh well,
never mind.
Take care. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.